Welcome to our next adventure with Chemology 411, a podcast about anything and everything. Kim and her guests will take you behind the scenes, behind the story, or behind the bar. So sit back. Make sure your seatbelt is fastened, tray table in its upright position, all carry-ons stored under the seats. But for this adventure, electronic devices must remain on, as we are ready to take off on our next adventure. Introducing Kim Schultz and Chemology 411.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Chemology 411. So, of course, we're going to have a bunch of different topics this evening, but our main topic is going to be about our working out and our eating healthy plan. I am Kim Schultz, and I'm your adventure coordinator for this show. Let's say hi to my co-host, Tyson Harley.
Excuse me while I finish this quart of ice cream.
Could you pass the cookies?
Do we have some great advice for you?
Exactly.
This is like the follow-up to the dating episode. The relationship episode.
Exactly. Exactly.
Just listen to what we say. Don't listen to what we do.
Don't follow me, because tonight I had a Pillsbury. They had peaches and cream cinnamon rolls. They're like a special, like only a short time special edition. And we bought them, and I made them tonight. Oh, they're so good.
Wait, say that again. Pillsbury what?
There's peaches and cream. So it's a peach icing on the cinnamon roll.
Whoa. Yesterday I went, oh, that's okay. We can talk about the other thing. Anyway, almost to 30. And it's crazy because I was messing around with some of the show descriptions and was just kind of looking on Google to see, where we were with things and finding the various podcast things. And we looked on one and realized we had 43 different things out there.
40, yes.
43.
Well, actually, we did episode 0, so this is actually episode 30. So
really
we're ahead of time.
Yeah. All right, are you ready for...
oh, no.
Tyson's Quick Hits, yes! Okay, that's for the most
Lord.
lame initial. That's okay, though. We're on our way, boys. Tyson Quick Hit, number 1. What was the other day? What was Monday?
420.
420,
man.
So, not the same this year, or maybe more so, since everybody's, sheltered inside. I don't know, but...
well, the distilleries are closed down, so
anyway, a friend of mine pointed out that that and people need alcohol for other purposes, so they don't care.
No.
They're going to drink it for their main purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, a friend of mine pointed out that Norm Macdonald, remember him? Pointed out that, celebrating 420, you mean Hitler's birthday? Quick hit number 2.
Oh, good Lord.
Speaking of Hitler's birthday, I didn't get it all coordinated yet, but it is kind of fun that there is an article out there that is... Because when I thought of Hitler, I thought... I wonder how many quotes have been misattributed to Hitler.
Right.
Like, have you ever seen the one that's like, whatever you are, be a good one. Abraham Lincoln. It's like, what are you talking about? Exactly. Never in the history of the world did Abraham Lincoln speak like that.
Don't drive and text Ronald Reagan.
Exactly. So I didn't look it up, but there's a funny one out there that I saw on the way, and I should have really collected it, where someone has... put up, whose quote was it? Abraham Lincoln or another famous, vengeful, egotistical person known in our history? Taylor Swift. So, anyway, go find that, because that's pretty good. Tyson Quick Hit number 3. So I have a correction to make. Last week, I believe, we were talking about shows that we had watched, and I had said that I had mentioned Altered Carbon, and I had mentioned Anthony Mackie, but I said I don't remember which one he was on. It's one of those like buddies in one of the Marvel movies. Well, Anthony Mackie, and the reason I mentioned him is because Anthony Mackie, I think he's both the producer and the star. Like, maybe it's the executive producer. You know how sometimes they want stars to be the executive producer too, even if they don't do a lot. Of the second season of Altered Carbon, he's the star. And where you've seen him is Ant-Man, And I had seen that once, so I don't know why I thought that so much. But also, do you remember the movie where The Rock and what's-his-face were bodybuilders, Pain and Gain, Mark Wahlberg?
Oh,
and it was actually a group of 3 bodybuilders, and Anthony Mackie was in that. And he was also in Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter. So I just wanted to, because I'm like, what was he in? Iron Man? And that was wrong, because remember it was, I got his face in my head right now. He was in Crash. Anyway, it was not the Iron Man sidekick. It was Ant-Man.
Oh, okay, I get what you're saying. Yeah. I remember.
All right, we gotta work on that.
It's not getting any better.
We'll work on it. All right, quick hit number 4. Curbside. Curbside, baby. Curbside, coronavirus curbside.
Well,
what I realized today is that I saw my work buddies leaving work. I'm working half days. And half days there, half days at home. And they immediately went to the car in front of the building. I'm like, what? I'm like, hold up. Are you saying they're not doing parking meter fines right now? And they said, that is true. So I have curbside service now. I don't have to go. The thing is, I've got a spot in the garage.
Right.
You know, so it's kind of it's kind of nice to put your car in the garage, but it's also like a 6-minute walk up to my floor.
No, not a 6-minute walk. How healthy are you?
Well, I've been doing it, but so now I've got to decide. I like that the car is sheltered, and I'm okay. But it's like, will I fall for the temptation of being able to park right in front of the building now?
Not after today.
I don't know. After I learn the lesson of our podcast, and it's emphasized. Yeah. And now, quick hit number 5. What did I say? Shellback shirt. You are wearing a shellback shirt.
Yeah, I'm wearing.
And what does it have?
Yellow.
What's the symbol you have on the top?
It looks like a pitchfork.
So it's like Neptune, right? So shellback. It says shellback Caribbean rum, right? So you think Caribbean Sea or whatever you call that. And shellback is the term for when sailors cross the equator. Prior to crossing the equator and having that ceremony, they're slimy pollywogs. And after they cross the equator, it's kind of an initiation. It's kind of like being in a fraternity, how it depends on where you go as far as how bad it is, the initiation.
Right.
And some ships have really, pretty bad ones, and other ones are fairly light and kind of like, what was that about? I thought you built this all up. Anyway, when you cross the equator, you become an honorable and trustworthy shellback. So I think that is a reference that your T-shirt is referencing. Quick hit number 6. I went to KC. Kansas side was really not bad. Yesterday I took the afternoon off. Kansas side was not bad. Mm-hmm. We did get to walk into the fast food. We just went to Hardee's. Mm-hmm. They didn't let me, but at least, like over here, it's a lot of just drive-through. Maybe they're letting people in, but I feel like most of even the fast food is just drive-through service.
Right.
If they had a drive-through, you just drive through. So over there, we did that. And then we went to a park, and people did not seem freaked. Now, granted, it's a park, but no one came through and said, making sure, no one's on the playground.
Like Tom Brady or whatever was told he had to leave the park wherever he was at. I think it was Tom Brady or one of those.
Yeah, so it was okay. Like, we spent time at a park, and it didn't seem like they're freaking out. Like, for instance, and I will probably do just an excursion on this.
Right.
But, for instance, one person who's of a certain political persuasion was in Whole Foods down in Austin and practically got accosted because she wasn't wearing a mask. For what it's worth, the rest of the world, that's not happening here.
No.
So even now, we didn't go by a bunch of places, but this is down in the middle of Overland Park or on the Kansas side, but in the middle of the loop, inside the loop. So it was in Kansas City on Metcalf, a little north of where that Sky Zone is, and where Dick Clark's American Bandstand used to be,
right.
And people weren't freaking out too much. I didn't go watch a lot of people, but like I said, we could go right in. and the park was good. We were also near a park that was near a really nice neighborhood, so I wonder if they just wouldn't be harassed as much.
Probably.
Like we tried to enter the park from the wrong side, ended up being, well, yeah, you can go through if you have permission to go through the gated community. So then we went around to the other side and we can get in. So it was a pretty nice park, and people were doing okay. Quick hit number 7. So we were looking at the platforms yesterday that our podcasts were on because I was adding more detailed timestamps.
I know. Congratulations. Those would look awesome.
I know. They're hard.
They're hard.
Kind of a pain, but I'd like to have them. Anyway, we have about 8. If you go to the main Anchor site, you see 7 or 8 platforms that they're on. And just happened to be also kind of Googling and seeing what appeared and, trying to follow the links that way. And there's a platform that is actually not an official platform. So it must just aggregate a bunch of podcasts unofficially. I don't know how that works, but I can tell you all of our episodes are on there, and it's called listennotes.com. And the cool thing about that one was that when I made the timestamps in the description, it just automatically links to the timestamp. So
like you can hit the timestamp and it'll take you to that link?
It'll start right there.
Holy crap.
Yeah, so that's kind of neat, right? Like if you find a little bit that you like, you go, well, they supposedly get to this eventually, but maybe your podcast thing isn't really good about can you go ahead plus 20 seconds, minus 20 seconds, that type of thing. So in this case, you can just hit it kind of like when you used to comment in YouTube.
Right.
And if you commented and you put 225, yeah, that guy doesn't know what he's talking about. If somebody clicked the comment, it would go right to 225.
Right.
So same idea, where all those different little timestamps, which means I might go more than less, but you only have so many characters. You will go right there. And so if you liked a little bit, or okay, this part sounds interesting, let me go right to there. You can do that. So I thought that was kind of neat.
I didn't. You sent it to me, but I did not.
It didn't really register.
I didn't know what you're talking about. You wanted me to go link something to something to.
Yeah, I had to do a couple of things. So somewhere in there, I mentioned that, and you probably didn't catch exactly what I was saying there. And so that's the end of Tyson Quick Hits for the day. The very first time we've tried any kind of sound effect.
That was like I'd have to say like a D+.
Hey, at least it's not incomplete work. You remember last week? Maybe I should have done that last week like your high school. Listen, I just got back. You want me to do the best I can? Well, I'll put my name on it.
Put your name on it.
That's it. By the way, I listened to last week's, and that was pretty fun. And I probably put more timestamps than usual on that one, so you can really find all the fun little bits a little bit easier on last week's. I'm going to try to continue to back engineer some of these timestamp descriptions. It is a good amount of work, but I do think I want to definitely continue to do that. That's all for Tyson's Quick Hits. Go ahead, Kimmy.
Woohoo! All right, so first of all, I have to apologize again because my asthma still has about 4 more weeks of coughing. So if I have to stop and I sound like I'm trying to breathe so I don't cough, that's what I'm doing.
So what have we been doing? We've been doing the tease fist bump. It looks like a fist bump.
Yeah, we can't.
But we keep it about 4 inches apart because neither one of us are real tall.
Yeah.
So we figure if it's not even quite a fist bump, then we're 6 feet apart.
Well, I'm trying not to spit on you as well, but like I said, this is something I do every year.
That's a nice change. No, I'm kidding. She doesn't spit on me. Kidding.
So anyway, I might have to stop and take a drink. So I just wanted to start with that. But leading with that, today I went, so we're still in the coronavirus stage. We still have till May 3rd before the statewide is up. And then each community can kind of start trying to figure out how to open it up. We will talk about it on the excursion. I've got a lot of stuff I want to talk about that, but we're not going to talk about it here because I've got other things I want to talk about. But today I went to the grocery store. My daughter came over. Considering that I'm old, she won't let me go to the grocery store on a Friday. She makes me go on a Wednesday because there's less people there, evidently. So we started going Wednesday. It's the first day the ad's out. I don't know why we go on a Wednesday. It blows my whole week apart. But so yesterday I told her, why don't you come over and we'll watch a movie after we go to the grocery store.
Aww.
I know.
Mother-daughter time.
I'm gonna be working all weekend, so it's either work today and maybe take a day off this weekend, or not work today and work this weekend? Well, I have nothing to do but work this weekend because I can't go anywhere. So I'm stuck here. So I'm just going to go ahead and work. And by work, I mean sit up in my nice chair, logged into my downstairs computer, and I'm going to be reconciling a lot of bank accounts. So I decided, well, let's just watch a movie. And I'm trying to do that kind of stuff, because before I was always busy and you push that stuff off. So we did that. But we're going to the grocery store, and we have a very short list. And I'm coughing on the way there. And she's like, Mom, you need to put your mask on, because she made me a mask. And she has her mask on. And I said, that's okay. And she was like, no, you really do need to put your mask on. People are going to look at you. And I was like, okay, well, they can look at me. I said, I cough like this for 6 to 7 weeks every single year. I have allergies. I am sorry, but I can't breathe in a cloth mask over my mouth. I can barely breathe without the mask. Well, I'm just telling you, Mom, they're just going to look at you. And so the whole time I'm in there, I'm like trying to not talk, breathe, like a cough is coming. I'm trying to hold it back. I'm like, and why? Like all of a sudden, the only ailment in this world is this virus. Like nothing else exists anymore.
There's not other reasons you would be coughing.
So anyway, that was my mask story. I didn't put it on. Now, if I would have walked in and everybody had a mask on, I'd have put it on just to, to blend in. But they didn't, that didn't happen. So not hardly anybody had masks on. I do have to say, though, that they had their Easter candy on sale. And it was like 60% off.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm looking through the Easter candy. I have my cart kind of parked. I'm kind of moving it through. I mean, it's in the middle of an aisle in carts by the freezer section. And this man with gloves on and a mask walks by me. And he looks at my cart. And instead of just like using his elbows to like move it forward, he takes his hands, puts it on my cart, and pushes it forward. I'm thinking, you freaking idiot. You've got gloves on. You just touched my stuff. Now, I'm not a germaphobe, and I'm not thinking about it because I pushed the cart.
Yeah, but thinking of his
But
point
you're
of
thinking,
view, it's
you've got gloves on and you're so cautious, and then you're touching other people's stuff. That's a no-no. That's a no-no.
Yeah, I was ambidextrous, and then I made a joke today that, it's you ambidextrous to use a little door handle. I'm reaching down with my elbow, just so you know, to get one of those door handles to just kind of a flip. I mean, a regular building door inside where you just kind of flip it down. You don't have to grab a knob. Right. And then you can also hip bump the door on the way out. So you kind of do an exercise. You go right elbow down, close left door,
hip,
and then hip bump out the door. So anyway, I did that today. Cracked some people up. You guys missed. This is when we should be.
You should be on video because that was cute. That's almost. That was good.
Also, guess who got a haircut?
You.
I cut it myself.
Oh, you said that. It didn't look that bad.
Yeah, remember I said the next day we'll see what people say. So it took a little while, and I'm sure it just but I was just
you
getting.
You should have just brought me out to cut your hair.
I was getting too mullety.
Oh, yeah, we don't want that.
Yeah.
We don't want that. All right, so then, so what day did you come over? Was it Saturday or Sunday?
Oh, because of server issues. Yes, was Saturday morning.
Saturday. Okay, so Friday, so everybody's...
my modem issues, so you helped me out with that. Go ahead.
So everybody's on the internet everywhere. Like, everybody's on the internet. That's all there's going on. So my internet was really slow, and I haven't got a new modem for a while. So I went online to my internet provider, and I ordered a new one, and I thought I'm just going to order it now until I can pick one out, and then I can take it back in. I can go buy my own, but I wanted a router modem, and I got all that kind of stuff, and ordered it, and it came on Friday. No, it came Thursday. I got it on Thursday, and I get 2 boxes. And so I'm like, that's really weird. I got 2 boxes. So I opened it up. It's a modem in the one box. And then one of them was like a brown box that I didn't even open. But the first one I thought, well, maybe that was like a free gift.
Yeah.
I didn't know. So I hooked the modem up. And then I open up the brown box. And in that brown box is a modem. And I was like, what? So I looked at to make sure it wasn't like the router to go with the modem, because it said it's a modem and a router, and I'm thinking, what?
Is it not combo? Was it
So I called them, and she looks at the account, and she was like, yeah, you're right. You're right. We sent you 2 of them accidentally. You'll need to return one. And I'm like, okay, so I don't need 2. So she goes ahead and hooks up she goes through the process to get my modem connected, right?
Right.
So we do that, and then I want to change my name, and I want to change the password, and she's like, put an app on your phone, do this, do that, or call me, and I'll do it for you. And I said,
app to put on a password.
Well, it's my Cox Wi-Fi app. So it changes everything, which it actually allows me to, I think what you want, it controls my Wi-Fi.
Right,
so I can control it.
You can do that on your computer, so you just...
but... Anyway. Well, I could do it on my computer as well. I could change the name on the computer,
you don't need an app. Anyway.
You got an app for that. You're going to make me cough. So anyway, I call back. I get everything switched over to my name, because my... what do you call it? My name of my network or whatever is called Insert Cute Name Here, because we used to have...
the world knows.
They don't have my password, because I got that password protected. Every time someone logs on my Wi-Fi, it sends me a message now. So it's like, this person's, there's somebody that's logged on. So anyway, they did that. But then I came downstairs and I got into my office and I was like, blah, 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 desk. No light.
Can you explain what the heck?
I can't. I will. I'll say it. So I've got all my dots in this house that control it. So I've got a smart house. My house went dumb with a new modem. Like, it was dumb. Nothing worked. I couldn't figure out how to go back to each of the things. I had to reset the password. It's not easy. I had to delete things. And my house was dumb for about a day.
Didn't you tell me that Alexa is all like, what you talk about, Willis?
She was like, I'm sorry, I'm having problems to connect. Let me try again. And I'm like, you're not going to make it. Like, I'm like, how? I was like, I have to say her name, because if I say it, she'll start talking. I said, how do I connect you to the internet? I'm sorry, I'm having trouble connecting to the internet. And they're like, no, duh, dip crap. So anyway, I got I have like 5. 1.
You called Alexa
2.
dip crap.
I have like 5 dots. Well, I have a show and 4 dots. So I had to go to each one of them, reconnect them to the internet. I had to do my Fire Sticks, my Roku, my lights, my switches, my light bulbs, my power strips, everything that's smart. I had to reset it and add it, because they couldn't give me the same password. They had the same name, but the password was a little different. So anyway, my house was dumb, but now I have all but my light bulb. I have to take the little thing down and redo the light bulb that's in one of my lights. But the light still works. You just turn it on and off with a switch.
What?
I know. I was like, that's weird. You can just turn a switch on? It's so hard. But when I'm upstairs, I have to walk down the stairs to do it now. Once again, our topic. So anyway, everybody knows I do taxes. I work for a CPA. And yes, sir?
I raised my hand, just so you know, audience. Yeah, this might be covering, but I want to understand what you have to do this weekend, because I thought you were all done. Oh, my Lord. She's pointing at some giant stack of stuff.
That's 4 years of accounting that I have to reconcile 4 different bank accounts for 4 years.
That one big project you said about. So anyway, I'm sorry it was interesting,
I'm not
because
doing taxes.
People who are listening have probably heard that you did not want to go past April 15th or so, and we're well past that.
Yeah.
But you still have just related
now I just
other
have accounting.
stuff.
Yeah, I've got new clients. So anyway, so I work at a CPA, but I also use the TurboTax software. I get it every year. I have since 1995.
Whoa.
I have all the discs in this book. And
there were computers back then.
There were too. I've been on a computer since the 80s. I don't know about you, but
Amiga.
I was kind of spoiled back in the day. Little screen. You didn't hit save. You lost your whole paper. You cried. It was horrible. But anyway, so I bought the TurboTax software. Well, this year they decided that they were going to put a code, because normally you can just put it on your computer and you're good. But now their intelligent, brilliant people decided to put a code, and it allows you to use the code 5 times. All right. Well, I have 3 computers. All right. So I have it on 3 computers. I've already bought the freaking disc 2 times, because every once in a while my computer just goes, you need to put in the code. Well, I didn't know, because I read online that, oh no, if it's already on there, it won't use the same code on the same computer twice. Lie. So I'm trying to get into the software, and then I call the people and I'm like, it's not doing it. She's like, you've already used your code 5 times. I get that. But my computer keeps asking me to redo this code. All right. So I said, I'll go to Walmart and I'll buy another code. Take off the software, put the software back on, use a flipping code so that I can, get in with this code.
Sounds like they've really built in some extra layer that's unnecessary.
But it's only on a couple computers. Yeah, I don't understand, because it's got to connect with the internet, and then it sends a signal to my computer or something.
Shouldn't that already say you're licensed?
You think it should. And then they're like, well, it could be your antivirus. It could be this. So it's bullshit. So anyway, I go to get on my computer the other day to do it, and it's asking for a code again. I have no more. I've already bought 2 flipping discs to do this. I've done this 10 times on 3 computers. So I call the lady up, and of course she's in Florida or whatever, and I'm like, I just want to know what's going on. Why do I have to keep putting this code in? Because I'm trying to get my taxes done. Now, what I do for a lot of people is they do the online taxes, and they'll send me some of their stuff. I put it in my TurboTax. I tell them, this is how much money you're going to get. They go online and do the free software.
Right.
We match our numbers because they don't really know what they're doing, and they're poor. So they can go online and file their taxes for free. They don't need to pay someone, but I don't mind helping them. So anyway, so I'm on my 3rd disc that I had to go buy.
I understand how you'd have to buy another. What is the disc? Is it not the software?
It's the software, and it's the software, and then it comes up and it says we need your authentication code or whatever. It's like, but I don't understand.
So you're on the 3rd disc.
I'm on my 3rd disc, and so those are $70 a disc. But I need it on my computer to open up the file. So my problem with them is, like, I'm not asking you for anything free. I'm asking you, did you fix the problem? So I'm going to be emailing them after this whole season is over, because what if next year I've got to get back into this year to look up to file my state? I got to know the things. What if I need to get in there and I can't get in there and they don't even have any more flipping codes to give me? So anyway, I wasn't happy about that.
Weird.
So TurboTax might be in my history. I might not be ever using TurboTax again.
Wow.
That's an absolutely it was just ridiculous. So I had that. So everybody knows I do send out cards. This week I get this weird text message that says, download this app on your phone, and I'm like, oh, no, you don't. I just don't randomly do it. So I took a screenshot of it, sent it to my partner, and I said, what's this about? He goes, oh, get the app. You're going to want to get the app, and then we have to watch the meeting tonight. So we did that, watched the meeting, and they have given us this really cool app now. So if I go out to do my send-out cards, and I send you my link for you to download the send-out cards app on your phone, I can now send you from my phone a video of what you need to do or how you need to do it. Whereas before, you had to figure it out on your own, or I had to actually meet with you.
Oh, so are you talking the kind of cards that you sent me?
Yes.
That one?
Uh-huh.
The, what's it called?
They're send-out cards with the gifts and
yours
stuff.
had a certain thing it had a name.
Selfie Cards Matter.
Yeah, Selfie
Yeah,
Cards
that's my
Matter.
company,
Yeah.
and send-out card is my product.
Gotcha.
So anyway, it's a cool app. So I can't even wait to get to know that. That's going to be one more thing this weekend that I'm working on, is to learn the app a little bit better. It's only for affiliates, so it's only for people that work for the company, but still it was really cool. And it's got tons of videos that I can text people now, or I can, oh my gosh, I was so excited. So we had that. And I think that was it. That's all I have. That's all I have for what we're doing now. But anyway, so let's move on to our topic. I said working out and eating healthy. And I've always worked out. And when I was younger, I wanted to be skinny. Like that was what girls wanted to be. It's like you just wanted to be skinny.
Well, and there was a time and age, young women and young men, when most people were skinny.
Right.
It really did matter. It really did happen, at least when they were young.
Right. Well, and now it's more for health, more for mental health and just physical health. But back in the day...
Because you were sopping wet when you graduated. How much?
When I graduated from high school, I weighed 125 pounds.
Oh, well, you were healthy then.
No, I was very healthy because I've always had big boobs.
I only weighed 128, and I had no boobs.
Yeah.
I mean, I was lean. I was like hyper lean.
Well, and I was too. I mean, I'm solid, so people don't know how much I weigh. People will look at me and they'll be like
115 or something.
Well, they could have, but by the time I went to KU for a year, I was down to 98 pounds. I was tiny.
Oh, from the stress or because
soon to be ex-husband at some point, and walking at KU, you had to walk from the football field. You had to walk up 172 stairs every day, walk back down them, and if you had to go up them twice, then you walk the entire campus.
My alma mater was on a hill, and I always thought, look at those hill climbing legs and these girls.
That would be me.
Yeah.
Except I was like 98 pounds. Now, remember, my senior year, I had bronchitis, pneumonia, and mono. So I did lose a little bit of weight, but I was a 28-34 Levi's shrink to fit. That was my jeans.
Oh, I didn't know they gave. I thought it was all that weird, code that you women use for sizes. That hasn't always been.
Well, Levi's, they were for guys and girls. They were just 28-34, and you'd buy them and they were like this big, and then you wash them and they shrunk to 28-34. They were shrink to fit.
Yeah, when I graduated high school, I wore 28 waist.
Well, we were about the same.
Yeah.
So
I had the proportions of a supermodel. 5'8" and 128 pounds.
Well, you did. You did, and you've got high cheekbones.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you are right there.
There you go. Except for that whole no boobs thing. And now it's like I've taken on the body composition of like just that's a fairly hot fit girl body competition. Composition. It's like, ew, well, it's kind of fit, kind of toned, and about 25% body fat though. That's nice. It's like I don't have I haven't had the body comp of a fit dude for a while. It's been actually near my birthday last year. I wasn't too bad, but now I'm a little heavy. So yeah, I'm getting a little bit of weight. Anyway, continue. It's all about healthy stuff.
So I've always been healthy, and I can remember when I was in high school, and mind you, I am down. I'm at 120 pounds, 125 pounds. And my friend, we used to have this women's gym called Kelly Lynn Fitness.
Okay.
And it was just women, and it was over there kind of close to where White Lakes Mall is, which is now abandoned. And so it was buy one, get one free membership, and then you got free tanning. And so we took $100, and we bought 3 months of gym membership for both of us for $100, and you got the tanning. Those ladies were so rude to us because now I understand. It's like, so those 17-year-old bitches gonna come in here all skinny and little in their little outfits, and what are they working out for? Which is what older people sometimes would think, because they didn't realize that, like, I'm only skinny because I work out all the time. And we joined for the tanning. We should have just bought the tanning. I don't even know why we went to the gym, but anyway, I remember joining that gym, and then I can remember never not being part of a gym ever. I never remember that. I mean, I've always been a member.
I think I have not at quite a few times. Just recently, I've always had a gym membership, but there's quite a bit of my adult life I did not have a gym membership.
I was at the YWCA for years when Chelsea was little. When she was born. Now, after she was born, I lost all my weight to Jane Fonda. And the funny thing is my daughter sent me the video the other day on YouTube. It popped up in her, "You might like this." And she was like, "Why would I like Jane Fonda?" And then she remembered that I'd be down in the basement when she would go to sleep and I'd do Jane Fonda. And that's how I lost all my weight. You know, because I weighed 98 pounds when I got pregnant with her. I weighed 139 full pregnancy with her. And I thought I was fat. Like, I was fat. And the doctor said 20 of those pounds are what you need to put on your body. Like, you're too skinny. So, but yeah, so I've always had a gym membership, and I like it because at home, I won't do it. I will not do it. I mean, like, now, yeah. I won't do it.
But have you ever really bought anything to really see, like, have you bought good equipment for home ever?
Where would I put it?
Okay. So you haven't, so you don't really have any faith that you do it, but you've never bought, like, a good stationary bike or some really good, I don't even know what it would be.
No, I would not do it here. I wouldn't, you think, yeah, nope, I wouldn't do it here. I want to go to the gym. I want to get out of my house. I want to be in my zone. And I like the smell of the gym. Like when you walk in, you're just like, I love the smell. I don't know if it's like sweat smell, the pheromones or the hormones or the pheromones or whatever the smell is, but I like that smell. I just like walking in with people that are like me in the health sense. And when I'm at my house, now I can do some yoga and stuff like that. If the weather's bad and I don't want to get out in it, I can do that. But like today, I'm just going to do my intervals. That didn't happen. I did 6 miles yesterday. I walked 6 miles. But I really was like, I just want to be on the treadmill for my 3 miles. I really don't want to walk a neighborhood right now. I just want to go in. No, I walked it yesterday. I did 6 miles yesterday. Okay. I said, but I'm to the point where I'm not getting my mental part in on my walk, especially when I walk with Chelsea. Now, 2 days ago, I did a 15-mile. I did 5 miles in an hour and 15.
You were trucking.
Outside. I was out. I had my audio machine going in my head, and I was just, boom. I was like...
So when you said you're not getting your mental in, you mean just because right now walking is not the usual...
Yeah, because I get to listen to my book on the treadmill. I sit there and I focus. Now you got cars driving by. There's all this stuff. It's not soothing for me. Okay. It's not my mental part. My mental part is to be in the gym. I just focus and I'm listening to my book and it's just me but when I'm walking, I'm looking around.
I definitely prefer walking outside. I don't mind walking on the treadmill, if that's what it's come to, but I would prefer just walking outside. If all I'm doing is walking.
Once or twice a week I can walk outside. The rest of it, I want my elliptical, I want my gym, and I think it's the fact I can't go now that even makes me want it more. But yesterday, I was like, oh my gosh, I just want to walk 2 miles on the treadmill, and I want to do 25 minutes. I do about an hour and 10 minutes. I want to do my hour and 10 minutes with my workout and my weights and my machines or my free weights. I want my workout back. But now I'm just walking 6 miles, and I'm not getting my workout in, and it's just driving me absolutely nuts. So, anyway, so let's talk about, so my workout we talked about is I do not run. You're a runner.
Yep, not right now, but I am. So when we get to me, yeah, we'll talk about that.
I do not run. My boobs are too big. They have always hurt. And knees, ankles.
That's your opinion.
What?
That they're too big for running.
Look, trust me, you
only think of yourself.
That's right.
So think of only yourself.
So selfish, aren't I?
Other people might think they're just the good size for running.
I put on 2 sports bras. So I put on one that's too small to push them down, and then I put another one over top of them just for more support. And people will be like, you should probably wear a sports bra. I flipping have 2 of them on. 2. And I try to push them down.
That really is a thing. Now, I've never thought it was a great idea to get reduction, but so that's a different topic. But you're right. There's something about that particular exercise. If you're too bosomy, it really is a major issue. It like kind of there's a good tennis player world class, like really, I think her name is Simona Halep or something like that. Anyway, she tried to play tennis and she just had, the same issue. Even just moving around on the court, she got reductions.
Well, I wanted to be a gymnast because I'm very flexible. Doesn't work. Doesn't work. You can't have big boobs and be a gymnast. It doesn't work. It throws off your body. Like I could do like back walkovers, and I could do like front handsprings, but to do a back handspring, like blah 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 blah, nope, not gonna happen. I tried, land on my head.
Some women are like, "Oh,
I know,
poor
me, I know." So I don't run, but I do like to walk. I walk at a very fast pace, but then some days I just want to saunter and to get like a 16 or 17 mile, 16
saunter, meaning you're not. No real, you're just like, let's just relax. Well, that's when I like listening to things is when it's like, whatever, I'm just going to go for a while. And, if it's an hour and a half, it's an hour and a half. I haven't tried to do any 10 milers or anything lately. I mean, my long walks will be like an hour and a half or two if I've got like a place to go.
Well, so exercise is very important to me. What I did start doing was the intervals, which I kind of was watching my videos. There's a lot of different shows and videos on Amazon. And so I did a 30-day yoga challenge, and then I found another one that does yoga with...
You're talking exercise videos on Amazon?
Yeah. And I found another one that was doing some some strength training and stuff like that, and she was doing intervals. And I'm kind of one of the people that I don't really want to follow the class. I want you to give me an idea, and then I'll take it on my own. So I started doing an ab interval and an arm interval, and it takes about 25 minutes because it's a 40-second do, 10-second off, and there are 4 sets 3 times. So you're doing something 3 times, and you're doing 4 different things, and then but only 10 seconds in between, and then you got a 5-minute at the end to like stretch and all that kind of stuff. And I love doing that, which is what I'll probably end up hopefully doing tomorrow. But I have one for arms and I have one for abs, and that I can push myself to do that because I'm about to die on my crunches, and you look at the clock and you're like, oh my gosh, 20 more seconds, how this is ridiculous. But I push myself because I don't need a trainer to push me. I have the timer and I will not stop. So I'm really good at that. I do bench work. Sometimes I do the machines a little bit.
What do you mean bench work at home?
No, this is the gym. Okay. At the gym. When I'm at home, I do intervals. That's it.
But what's bench work at the gym?
Just like my arms. I do you lay down and I do the same thing. I do 10-pound weights.
Okay,
so I go up and then I have behind my head and then I do a sit up.
So you just mean free weights?
The free weights on the bench.
Okay.
I do that. And then always stretch out, very flexible. So I want to make sure that I always stretch out, and that's always a part of my workout. So anyway,
how is your back? What is your tendency towards one part or any part of you getting tight or getting locked up? Do you have any of that?
No. Now I do.
The flexibility probably helps.
It helps out a lot. But I also alternate days. So I will do abs more than one day in a row because abs, you're really not getting too much. But I do arms. I do upper body, lower body, upper body, lower body. I alternate. So
those. You haven't had back issues and stuff?
No. I do have back issues, but not because of like lifting weights. I just went to the chiropractor last week, and it was like a freaking concert trying to get me back in shape. Being able to, my hip was out, but that's just because I sit in a chair all day at work. That's not really working out. And Chelsea used to be here, so she could actually push on the middle of my back and pop everything back in for me. But she's not here anymore. So now I waited a year and then went to the chiropractor and I got in trouble. So, yeah, but I'm in pain all the time. But
it's never debilitating?
No. I've just got used to it. And so getting my back put into place, hopefully that won't.
So you do chiropractor. Anything else that you do like?
I'll get massages every month. I get a massage tomorrow.
What about, do you ever do acupuncture? Because we have acupuncture.
No, I would love to try acupuncture. I would love to try anything. Hot tub, love it.
We know we are mutual friends with some acupuncture.
Oh, really?
Acupuncturists.
Acupuncturists? Have you done that?
I have never. My sister has.
And did
My
she like it?
sister has more issues. She did it for a little while. I think she liked it. It was enough that it was a, once a month or so thing. So she liked it. But we know one. I'll mention her off the air. So my exercise regimen.
What do you do?
So here's my thing. I am a biomechanics nerd. I have pretty good. I have pretty good spatial awareness and decent understanding of biomechanics, and because of that, I'll read books on form.
Right.
So I actually really like doing that. One of my big things right now is we all have an issue. I'm telling you, it's really bad. You've got to do anything you can to work against forward head posture.
Oh, I know. I was watching people today like this.
Yeah, you've got forward head posture is a huge thing. So one of the things I do for that, and I'm still not perfect at all, but I've even ergonomics is good for that. But I've even went and got a nice split keyboard.
He looks like a chicken now.
So I can or a Tyrannosaurus Rex.
A little Tyrannosaurus Rex. There you go.
I can't reach my little arm. Can't reach my keyboard. So anyway, I've got a split keyboard, so I can pull those shoulders back.
Right.
So one thing for me for ergonomics is to remember to pull those shoulders back, and really try to a little bit. There's a couple of things to look at for forward head posture. It's one of my pet things to think about, is that you should be looking straighter, not down your nose at things. And it's really hard because what happens is your neck muscles start to tighten up.
Right.
And so you need to be thinking of the back of your head. Like, think of that little crown of your head area, or not even crown of your head, right? That little bump at the occipital, bump at the top of your neck, bottom of your skull, in the back. Think of that being high. Don't think of it being low. Think of it being high, like there's a puppet string at the back of your head.
Right.
And the back of your head is the more likely that's the tallest part, the more likely your head rotates down and you're looking out at the screen, not down your nose at the screen.
Right.
So, and another thing to think of there is that don't go places with your face. Go places with your body.
Right.
So if you need to get closer, bring your body closer. Right. Not because some people you'll see reach way out with their head. And you can't see that, but hopefully just the way I said it. and people don't even realize that their forward head posture.
Because I move my body.
And
I go forward.
You have good posture. But yeah, you see people who don't even realize that their head, if they look sideways, is way past. It really should be your knees are above your ankles. Your hip is looking from the side. Your hip is above your knees. Your shoulders are above your hips, and your head is above your shoulders. But you'll see people who are not stacked that way. And when you're not stacked, if you're stacked perfectly vertical, then you don't have all the stress from these muscles having to make up for it.
Right.
It can just rest right over the top, nice and balanced. But if you're not stacked vertical, and especially if your head's way forward, your neck's having to do all these types of things.
Right.
So the forward head posture for me is big, and one of the few things that I do are that it's more kind of like calisthenics, or I'll try to stretch over the back of one of those yoga balls. Is that what you call the big 36-inch? I'll just, because guys, and also as you get older, the top of your neck and the top of your back is going to lose some flexibility because you've done this forward head posture. So anything that you can do, as one person says, there's a great book that I have called Pain Free by Robert. It's Egoscue. I don't remember the first name. Egoscue. Egoscue. And he talks about this. And he talks about how so much of the stuff we do is in this box in front of us. Right? Just this box in front of us. But anytime you can, get out of the box, whether it's reaching back or up, or back and up, or turning around.
He's turning around. That's why you can't hear him.
I'm turning. and think of how, here's a perfect example. You ever see, a basketball player's shoulders? They're gorgeous.
Right.
Right? And it's because they're reaching up all the time and reaching back and twisting their torso because they're doing all this stuff.
Right.
And, then you'll see other people, anybody who goes to the gym, that they should just remember to do any chest work you do, you should do back work too. You should do that complementary.
Definitely, yeah.
But not only that, because you see the guys who, what's the perfect cue of whether someone is overly front loaded as far as their development? Their palms are facing them and the backside of their hands are facing forward. And it's kind of a chicken or egg as far as whether you're in the right position to help your balance, or because you're imbalanced, your hands are this way. But if you pull your shoulders back, let your arms hang, pull your shoulders back and tighten your back a little bit to balance it, what happens with your hands? They end up being parallel. Your thumb ends up kind of pointing forward. Right. So think of anything you do, and for you it's harder. I've told my sister this, who does not have your bosom problem. You can imagine she's related to me. But anyway, I'm like, you got to pretend. One cue for it is to think of trying to make your boobs look up. That sounds weird, but it's like you're trying to be showy.
I do that.
You're trying to be showy, and that's, unfortunately, that's good posture.
Right.
You ever see somebody walk by?
You stretch your back and you're pulling it and you're pushing it out.
You ever see anybody walk by with great posture? It catches your eye.
Yeah.
And they're also a lot less likely to have forward head posture and stuff. So forward head posture is huge for me. Anything that helps that. Just doing back stuff. I love rowing. The Concept 2, they're awful because they're such a good exercise, if you know what I mean. They'll kick your butt. So those Concept 2 rowing ergometers that have the flywheels, I've gone through phases of that. I do like walking a lot. I've gone through a lot of lifting phases, something called 5x5. Go look up Strong Lift 5x5. And that's just where they try to get you to do just basic lifting exercises, nothing fancy, and start low and really work on form. Even for guys, start with the bar.
Right.
And work the form. And the great thing about what I'm talking about, squats, overhead lifts, standing upright rows, and deadlifts, are that this weight is on you the whole time. There's no springy thing where it's those other, I always forget whether it's powerlifting or Olympic lifts, where it's like the clean, where you bring it from the floor and you explode up. Whenever I've had injuries through lifting, it's from doing that type of a thing where it's up in the air for a moment and it's weightless, and then you have to catch it again. I hurt my back once doing kettlebell, where you swing it up.
Oh, yeah.
And that's usually pretty good. But for me, the very few times I've had injuries, it's been a decompression injury. Where weight's coming off and then it came back on. And it's almost like your body, it tends to have to react and lock up. So for me, doing those types of things have been perfectly safe because I'm a biomechanics nerd.
Right.
And the weight's on you the whole time. So if you're safe and you don't go way heavy, because you don't need to go heavy, you can do things like squats. Another big emphasis for me is forget whether it's weighted squats. Do squats, even if it's unweighted, and do them deep. Because what in the American experience is the major problem. I've fallen and I can't get up.
Right.
Now, how did we get there? Because our thigh strength goes to pot.
Yep.
No pun intended, but that's part of it. We're using pots and we're using chairs.
Right.
And if you can't get in that position, and you don't over a period of years, you go past about 20 degrees off vertical, you can't hold yourself anymore.
Right.
So think of your thighs and all these muscles. It's easy, as we were saying, with forward head posture, but think of it as on the hips. It's easy if it's just balancing right over the top of each other.
Right.
Let's say you built some little robot, I should say a stick person, and they're only held up with rubber bands, little light rubber bands, but you have them all, the rubber bands in the right area, they stand up straight. But as soon as you put any weight on it, it can stand up straight, but as soon as you put any weight on it where it bends, it just goes, there's no more strength left. The rubber bands aren't big enough. So when people get older, have you ever seen an older person fall? Well, they just lose their footing for a second, and they just can't catch their weight. It becomes, it's really, really bad, because what happens is, instead of just falling like you and I would, it's like, well, whatever, I'll get up. They try to catch themselves, but they gain momentum over 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 steps, and they crash even harder than they would have because they've taken like 15 foot to go fall down, and they crash hard. So anytime you can get into that position, whether it's lowering yourself down to the chair instead of plopping into it,
right?
Whether it's doing body weight squats, do it. That's the most important. Because when I'm not on an exercise regimen, I'll always just try to do what I call incidental exercises.
Right.
You don't have to take the stairs a lot, but take them a little.
I take them all the time
and double them. Sometimes double the steps.
Yep.
Double the stairs, because if you can get down into the position I'm talking about, where your knees are past parallel, and actually past parallel is where you start bringing your hamstring and everything else.
Right.
If you're just those, that's why you should go ahead and start light. There's no reason to start heavy. If you can get down in that position, it's good work. Whether it's body weight exercise or more weight, get a good depth, because if you can get that depth, then you can get yourself off the floor.
Right. Yeah,
and as we know, weight bearing exercise helps your bones too, right?
Right. And so, yeah, that's, with stairs versus elevator, that's a good point. Is you don't even have to go to the gym to be cautious and do extra, like helping your body work out during the day. I will not take an elevator if their stairs are accessible to where I can see them. A lot of stairs are hidden, so you can't find them in buildings. Right. But I'll go up 5 floors on stairs, and people are like, "That's ridiculous." And I was like, "It's an exercise. We can't be this lazy, like, not park our car in the garage because we have to walk a whole 6 minutes."
Yeah. That's true. That's why I may not do it. But on the other hand, it's so new, it'll go back to usual, and I'll be walking.
Well, it's VIP right now.
Yeah, VIP front door. But the other thing, I'm going to tell you a quick story about those leg exercises. I told you we've been around for a while. We've all gone on our exercise regimens and then stopped for a bit and then started different things. So I'll go on running cycles, and then I'll stop, and then I used to rollerblade a lot.
Oh, I've never rollerbladed.
I'm not coordinated, but I love going fast. I just love going fast. So I'm not gonna do little hockey pirouettes or anything. But give me a trail without many twigs on them, because that'll kick your butt if you're on a rollerblade. You hit a twig and off you fly. Anyway, I was on a running phase. My mom lives on a lake, and so there are hilly roads. So for a little while, I lived in that direction after I'd come back from college. And I ran on some of those hills, and you know how you are, going down hills is harder than going up them. Like your legs
You're right.
can really.
My knees hurt now. My left knee hurts going down.
So I had done that and knew what that was like. And then at some point, I had a little weird issue with my back or something, and I had that little, what do you call it when it's shooting down your
sciatic nerve?
Yeah, sciatica.
Me too.
And it took like a year for it to heal. But then it did, and I think it may have been because I was running on gravel, so just something kind of weird happened. Anyway, I eventually got back towards it, but in the meantime, something that wasn't as bad was rollerblading. And what do you do in rollerblades? You want to see incredible legs, go look at hockey players or skaters, right? Speed skaters. So you're getting in that low lunge position, and you're pushing off to the side, which is great for your rear, great for your thighs, good for your calves. Anyway, I was obviously strengthening up my thighs. And then I remember as I started working in the running, I zipped down that hill no problem, because the thigh strength was so much better. Right. Thigh strength so much protects your joints.
Yeah.
So I'm big about anything that keeps you don't have to get super strong with your thighs.
No.
But do that at least incidental. Like I'll even do double stairs and sometimes triple stairs. I mean, that gets a little hard because of the reach, but you can do that. And another thing I'll do for any of these, if you don't have any weights like we are right now, just try to do a body weight squat with 10 seconds down and 10 seconds back up.
Right. And
what that does is when you do like a strong lift 5x5, they'll say like use the elasticity of your muscles. You got this elasticity, and let that be the bottom of the exercise. It's kind of a ballistic movement, but not like ever the weight's all the way off you. And so really you're only catching some of the muscle because you're going fast.
Right.
But if you go 10 seconds, then you remember you said that you had that timer?
Right.
And you can go get these timer apps to your point.
Yeah, I've got my app,
where it'll go beep, 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 and it'll be the next rep or whatever.
Right.
And
Different
it'll count
sounds.
your reps and everything to where you can just watch it and off you go, because I've had one too.
I love it.
Do where it's 10 seconds down and the bottom is deep. And then on the way up, do not do that first couple of seconds do not do that first couple of seconds back up like you're accelerating up. Make it slow first.
And then push yourself up.
Well, no, still go slow the whole way. And when you get all the way almost to the top where you're standing, don't go so far where you're standing with no pressure on your legs anymore. Just go almost to the top, and then go back down again. You do just 4 sets of four reps. You're gonna feel it in all of your legs, because you've taken 20 seconds each.
Right.
Never taken the stress totally off your body, and only taken a full 80 seconds with a body weight squat. So that's really good. I've done a marathon one, and I did not work the slow aerobic stuff enough, because I'm kind of egotistical about how fast I can run. And I definitely did well until that 21-mile wall, which is a thing. So if you exercise slow enough, you can work the anaerobic heart, and it can really develop. So much so that a guy named Mark Allen, who is a world-class triathlete, and he was like me, he was going too fast. He was already a world-class triathlete, where he's an Ironman where they finish with a marathon.
Right, yep. And
when he first slowed down, I'm going to try this aerobic thing, where I'm going to slow down so much so that I'm only at whatever it was, 140 beats a minute, you know, 130, whatever it was. I don't have it off the top of my head. When he first started that, he had to slow himself down 2.5 miles minutes per mile. And after about 6 months of that, his same heart rate, that lower heart rate, was back at the speed he used to have. And he was already world-class triathlete.
Oh, wow.
He's already, so you can work the aerobic capacity so much so that it gets developed, and then you can do those long runs faster, which I didn't do. I kind of knew about it, and I even had a heart strap, one of the Garmin's, at the time, but I didn't work it enough. So I did all the long runs I was supposed to, and then I did the Garmin marathon, speaking of Garmin, over in Olathe, and hit that 21 mile wall, where basically it's because your carbs are gone.
Right.
And if you just train with carbs and just do the sugar and all that, I went too fast. Like, I was near Boston Marathon pace for qualifying. Like, you got to qualify for that.
Right.
I'm like, how awesome would it be if I qualified for Boston in my first marathon, and then that happened.
And you're like, boom.
And the last, 5 miles or so, it was a walk run. I still finished in under 4 hours. Even with a 4 or 5 miles of walk run, I finished in 3:56.
How many days a week do you work out?
Well, when I'm in the phase, 5 or 6 days a week.
That's what I do.
One way or the other, especially with the walking now. Because one thing about me, I'm, now near that magic number, or at the magic number rather, the big half century. And so something that guys read, if you look, it's like, well, you got to worry about the testosterone going down. And what do they say about it? Also goes to the idea of working that aerobic level as opposed to anaerobic. Some people would say no, because there are people who do marathons 50 days in a row. So it's a little confusing, but for the average person, and maybe it's just that massive adjustment. Like, how do you adjust to do multiple marathons in a week? That's got to be a huge adjustment that most people don't do.
Right.
But for the average person, running anaerobically for 60 minutes really knocks down a guy's testosterone. And so that's why, if you look up some of the stuff, it's like, either do like what you're saying, high intensity interval training, or go moderate speed walking.
Right.
And you won't get into that really break you down anaerobic. I think I just said that wrong the whole time. I meant to say, I think I've been saying anaerobic. Aerobic means you do have oxygen. You're at the oxygen level. So
right.
I'll correct that in the details. But you should be down. When I said Mark Allen, he developed his aerobic capacity, even though before he was already super fast, like faster than 95% of people can run marathons. So the idea is that you do high intensity or you do walking. So when I'm
Right.
in the walking routine, I'll try to get something like that in most days.
I say I like to work out at least 5 days a week, because normally it's one day on the weekend and one day during the week I don't work out because I have meetings all day. And I used to work out at night. I would go and I'd work out at night after work, and now I'm in a morning routine. So I like going in the morning. But then this week I went in the sun routine, meaning I put on a tank top and I wanted to get my suntan and a workout. I kind of like multitask there. So, all right. So we have our workouts that we do. What about eating?
Well, hold on a second.
Oh,
bands
more?
is a great idea right now.
Oh yeah.
You know, because you're at home. And I've had bands at home but never used them a lot. But like right now, it's like, hey, I can get some of this kind of detail work in. But you got to be careful where you hold the band, because you'd be surprised how weak some of those ends are. One of them just came off today on me. You know, like you think, well, how do I do a deltoids, or kind of that upper back thing? Remember upper back thing?
Yep.
You take a band and just hold it right at shoulder level and then stretch it straight backwards. That is all that upper back.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I've been experimenting with bands a little bit more, because I got plenty at home. Not a lot, but just something different to do since I can't get in the gym.
Right.
So that's a good thing to do. And currently I'm doing more of that. And right now I've got a weird heel issue that was totally my fault. So I can't do sprints, because otherwise I would do high intensity. Here and there I was doing sprints.
Right.
Like you're talking about, just the basically Tabata. So there's Tabata, which I totally agree is a good idea. But another person says, instead of going, yours is kind of like Tabata, but the strict Tabata is 20 seconds on, only 10 seconds off 8 times. And another one that I've read is more like, okay, go 30 seconds hard, and then go 1 to 2 or 2 to 3, and then go 30 seconds hard again. So that's when I sprint, I'll do that. Because 30 seconds a sprint, that's a little bit different than just 10 or 15. 30 seconds is a lot. You can cover, over, like a couple 100 yards in 30 seconds.
Right.
Or near it, even if you're not very fast. So I believe in that stuff, the high intensity stuff, and kind of along with what you're saying. Exercise equipment I like I said, the rowing machines and Versa climbers. Did you ever do Versa climbers?
I have not.
Where
I've seen them.
you've seen them, it's the really good machine where you got your hands and your feet on it, and it looks like you're climbing a mountain. But you can get the cheap ones, and it's not the same. But you look now, it's like you can't buy one for home because it's like thousands of dollars. You're like, this can't be that complicated. But I guess it's kind of like buying a concept too. That thing is not going to ever die.
Right.
Like, it's built so overbuilt, so almost gym built, that for just one person, it's going to basically last the rest of your life. Those Versa climbers are awesome. I love those. I've done Tough Mudder before, and that's great fun. So I would recommend that for anybody. Also, just weird, odd things to do. There's a guy named Frank Zane in the bodybuilding days. And in the 70s, Arnold Schwarzenegger bodybuilding. So the guy is a lot smaller than Arnold, but he was ripped. And what he would do is just vacuum hold his stomach in. And there's something to that. That thing. But just, if you vacuum hold your stomach in and hold it there, you can make your stomach, you can make your stomach smaller. I don't know if you ever tried to, ever have like a skinny, like a boy that you knew? And he'd do the little vacuum thing where he looked like a little skeleton. Yeah. Well, Frank Zane would do that. He could do that. And it would just make his chest and everything look that much bigger. Another thing real quick that is, I've got these types of books all over it in my library, you can imagine. There's one called Oxysize. I'm not saying there's a lot to it, but it also maybe might make sense. It's basically Oxysize, and it's funny because it looks like she's dressing like Jane Fonda, high, hip type stuff while she's doing it. Where you can see the whole hip on the side cut.
Yep.
So
her leotard.
Yeah, and the leotard, the side cut is like all the way past the little hip bone.
Yep.
Or something like that. Anyway, it's like basically holding it in all these isometric positions, but also deep breathing during it. Like taking, some of those deep breaths that you probably do regimens of, which you believe in that, the deep breathing, and so do I.
Deep breathing.
But it's basically holding isometric holds while doing deep breathing and breathing way in and breathing way out, completely empty. And the idea is that supposedly the contracted muscle is what draws the oxygen. So like maybe you're doing the chest, so you push your hands together in front of you, and then that's your chest, and you hold that there, and then you breathe out. Maybe it's a 16-second or whatever your particular count is. And then, if you want to do your back, you just, spread your arms out and be trying to squish the top of your back and do that. Or, maybe you do biceps by pushing down with one arm and pushing up with your palms
I do that.
together.
Yep, we do that. I do that with some of my stuff. Yeah.
Up and down. And so the idea is, and I don't know how, it's not so much that I needed to be convinced on that one. It's just more like, that at least the isometric works, and the deep breathing is a good idea anyway. Yep. Same idea if you're holding some deep squat and you do the deep breathing, and the other thing too is she says that whenever you're doing that, you should deep breathe and just really hold your buttocks tight too.
Right.
So you're doing all this stuff, and no matter what your various stuff is, you deep breathe and you do any number of positions. And then you also just hold your buttocks tight and your legs tight at the same time.
Right.
So that's another kind of incidental non-exercise exercise.
Right. Well, that's actually on my Amazon. That's one of the things, because like she has you go over to the wall with your feet so far apart, and you put your hands against the wall, and you're just pushing on the wall, but you're also pushing your feet on the ground. So there's like all those different pressures that you're doing. And so that hurts. Like you can feel it the next day in your arms with nothing. You're just using your own pressure and your own stuff in there.
I'll tell you something else right now. Like you can't find any benches. Like apparently they're all made in China and everybody already bought them. So
there'll be a lot of benches going on sale in about a month.
Yeah, maybe. Or it makes you wonder. Anyway, but I did get at least some weights. So think of old-timey lifters. They didn't use benches like the old, look at this strongman. Their idea would be, why would I bench something? Is it the idea of whether you can lift it?
Right.
So I don't have a lot, but I mean, even my size, there are dudes who can put 300 pounds over their head pretty easy, and plenty of dudes who can put 200 pounds over their heads. So a barbell with about 100 on it, but you got to pick it up from the ground, so you got to kind of get it to your hips, and you can do kind of that. I always forget whether it's cleans or snatches or clean and jerks, but anyway, just lift it to your thighs and then get it up to your shoulders, so you're ready to do bench presses overhead. But anyway, once you do presses overhead, if you just hold them there,
I do that.
If you just hold a barbell standing, it's kind of like how squats are good for your torso, because you have to have a rigid torso,
right? If
you've got weights on them. So that's what it reminds me of, just having to hold it over your head, and instead of just doing like the 10 reps at a pretty good clip, like 1, 2, 3, at some point, just hold that fairly heavy weight over your head at straight arm length.
Yep.
And you'll really feel it in your shoulders and all of your support muscles.
Like the weights at the gym that have it's like a it looks like a TP, but it's got weights that go down each side, and they're different pounds.
Right.
And then they're kind of a curved bar.
Yeah.
So I do the same thing. I take that one, I put it over my head, and I just hold it above my head, and then I put it behind my back, and I just hold it behind my back. But then I go up, and I do that, and I hold it. But then I put it straight in front of me, and I just hold it.
That's hard.
Straight in front of me. Do the same thing, and then of course you lower it down, and then you push it. Then you do some pull up, pull it up from the ground, then back over. But then it's that pull up. Then you change your arms and you do it this way, so you're holding it this way. And I mean, I'm not looking at. I'm looking at 10 pounds total. On the bar, 5 and 5, or the bar maybe 15. I don't know, but yeah, the holding holding the weights. I do that as well. It's kind of like when you're in yoga and you're in a plank. Up with both your arms straight, and you plank yourself all the way down to you're almost laying on the ground, but you're not. You're keeping your whole body right above the ground. I can do about 45 to 50 seconds.
Yeah, and that just pulls in boot camp, all you'd have to do is almost like you just tighten in your arms near your torso, and I could sit down there forever. Because it was just more like just a hanging still position as opposed to anything that really.
But you got to hold. But I mean, at that point, but you got to tighten your butt. I mean, you're concentrating your whole body is just tight, because you can sit down there just like, okay, well, I'm just sitting here, my arm's getting tired, but you tighten up your whole body. Your whole body is.
The other thing I'll do
workout.
is that I'll do slow reps. Like, sometimes I'll do heavier, but my tendency is to try to go for feel with decent speed reps or slow ones, and to really just go for feel. And eventually I'll go heavier reps, but a lot of it's like really good feel reps, like, understand what the exercise is actually using. So definitely anything in the gym. Haven't done a lot of like heavy weight stuff lately. So yeah, I do quite a lot of things. I'm kind of a geek about it. It's just that even then, it's like if you're not careful as you age, you still gain that little amount of weight.
Yeah.
And that's the only thing. It's like, right, I've had a couple things in a row where it's just not super. I had this weird shoulder issue. At first I couldn't run.
Right.
And then with the shoulder issue, which is basically totally good now, I could run now, but at first I couldn't run. Even that would bother my shoulder. So I didn't run and I gained weight. And then I did jump rope, which I like usually, but the jump rope was too small. And I'm only 5'8". So, but the jump rope, they didn't have a longer one. And so I needed it just to be a little bit longer, and so I took off my shoes for that extra little half inch, and I did some of those where you're kind of like you're doing one knee at a time. It's too ballistic, I think, and I stomped my left heel onto the ground too much. And I hurt my heel. And then yesterday I was playing basketball with my nephew for some unknown reason. I'm like, dude, my heel. He's like, it doesn't matter, you'll be okay. Sure enough, I stressed my heel again, so.
Yeah, as you get older, your body does different stuff. My right shoulder's still messed up. I mean, I went to the chiropractor. Got everything kind of maneuvered in, and hopefully tomorrow I got to get a massage to work all that out. But I am very cautious of my body when I'm like trying to go up and down stairs, and I just realized that. My brain goes so fast, I just don't want to fall down some stairs, or I don't want to twist my ankle, and I don't want to I got to be careful. I mean, I'm getting up there in age.
Another thing I'll do regarding that is we talked about getting in a lower position so that you don't fall and can't get up. I mean, it sounds condescending, but it is a matter of if you don't do something, you will just your legs will just atrophy. Right. And yes, you can fall despite that and hurt yourself, but the most likely thing is if you're doing that every single day, you're probably not falling and breaking a hip because your bone strength is so much better. Your thigh strength is so much better.
I think I was telling you I went for a walk. It was probably 3 years ago. And my friend JJ was in town, and we were going to go out, and we were going to get in like a 6 to 8 mile walk. Nice day out. Walking down the sidewalk, there was like, it's kind of like the sidewalk kind of went down, and then there was mud, and I was talking to her, and I hit the mud, and so it slid my leg forward, which put me down, which smashed my leg. I went down. It was my left leg slid, but my right leg hit the ground, and but it was all slow motion. It was just like, oh, boom. Of course, she's like picking me up on the ground, and she's like, oh my gosh, you okay? And I'm thinking, oh, like I'm some old person, but I literally slid in the mud. I've walked this location probably 5,000 times. It's like
not realizing,
but I wasn't.
You'll put that extra stress on pressure in between your legs when you know it's icy.
Right.
It was like it was icy, but you didn't know. I
didn't know it.
Yeah.
But I think because of my flexibility, that kept me from getting injured. But it scraped up my knee, so I went over to the grass because it was still kind of dewy out. Got some water, and I just wiped off my knee. And of course, my knee was, it was bleeding. And she was like, we had just started. We were probably a quarter of a mile from my house. And she was like, are you going to be okay? And I'm like, no, we're walking. So we walked our 6 or 7 miles. By the time I came home, my entire leg was full of blood. It had bled all the way down. And I just kept walking. And I used to do daycare with her daughter. And she goes, you sure do walk the walk, girl. You would always tell the kids, brush it off, get up and walk. Because a kid would always, I'm not going to baby you unless you're really hurt. And I was like, I excuse me, I didn't feel the pain until the next day when the scab came in and I started putting all my ointments and stuff on it. And I still went out and walked on it. I thought, you're an idiot for falling. So get out there. But I think my flexibility, flexibility is what really saved me though, because like with on the ice, I always tell kids, you know, if my leg goes out and I were to go down, I can do all 3 splits. So I'm still gonna injure myself because my body isn't gonna just go, oh yeah, but I'm not gonna injure myself as much.
Oh yeah. So regarding flexibility, I just have kind of okay flexibility. I like guy flexibility. I can touch the ground fine. Right. I think it's important to at least have decent flexibility. So whenever I will do stretches, but I won't ever try to do massive stretches, even though I think sometimes it's probably a good idea to take on that regimen. I never have. Broadly, my concept is you can't gain, I don't mean for this to sound condescending, because I know if you've ever gained a lot of weight, it's very hard to take it off. But because it is, it's what my broad concept is, you can't be 100 pounds overweight if you never got 50 pounds overweight. You know, so you got to it's okay to gain some, but you've just got to constantly be policing, right? So that's my broad concept. And there are different times where I've been at like a high weight that was too high for me. I mean, I've got a small frame. I graduated 128 pounds. Now, granted, it was like ripped lean, but it was still only 128 pounds at 5'8". So if I don't put on muscle, which I have over the years and at different times, 160 is too much for me. Now, right now, 160 is like probably just like kind of a decent weight, like a pretty good weight. But if I had not done lifting phases, 160 and 165 is where I can start to look sloppy because I got a small frame. So, and people kind of think, well, that can't be that much. Well, if you got a small frame, it can be that much.
I'm normally around like 150. But I have big boobs. I swear to God, they at least weigh like 8 pounds apiece.
Right now, 160 would be good. I think I'm probably closer to 171. So, but I really should be, if I wanted to look really good, I'd be about 155 or 150.
Well, you said taking off the weight is hard. The harder part is when you go and you gain weight. And you keep that weight on. That's the important thing. And this is chemology, so this is not Scientology. This is chemology. When you go and you gain weight and you're comfortable in that body for 2 or 3 years, your body has what they call muscle memory. Fat memory is exactly the same. A lot of people, there is a weight that if you just ate normal, that's your normal weight. I have a normal weight. If I go into a health, and we'll talk about food next week, but when I go into that, I could get down to I could drop 20 pounds. I can't keep it off.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people, when they're losing their weight and they don't understand that if they do it too quickly, and they get too cocky and too confident, it's harder to keep it off. So when you start to gain the weight back, you're probably going to gain more weight back than you lost in the first place because your body's going to be like, oh really? You tried to lose the fat? We like the fat. We like all that stuff. And so when you've got to realize that this is an every day, all the time process. You don't get to just go to the gym. That's why it's killing people right now. Right now, when we're in this coronavirus part, all of our gyms are closed. This is a routine. 2 to 3 hours a day, these people are in a gym. There's absolutely no way that they're at home doing exactly what they did in that gym. The way that they feel, they're feeling fat. It's going to take them a while to get back. But reality is we have muscle memory. So they're going to go back to normal. But the person that's always been overweight, who had just achieved that losing 50 pounds, and this happened, I will guarantee you they're going to gain most of that weight back. Because in their psyche, they're going to be like, oh, this is the coronavirus. It's okay. Everybody's eating. It's just sad. Oh my gosh, I'm under stress. Stress makes me eat. And that's okay because we're under stress and I'm going to justify all this. So we've got to make sure that
I'm
we're
not a
working
stress
out.
eater. I'm a little bit of a boredom eater.
I'm
but
a
I'm
boredom
also
eater. I don't get stressed.
I'm not a stress
really.
eater. A couple other things for me. RPM, okay? So when you're running or anything else, work towards that higher RPM. I'm even talking elliptical, because your body works best as a runner at a high RPM. So this is RPM nerddom. Do not try to take those massive strides. So think of your hips as the engine of the running. And if think of the hips just going shoot, 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 shoot smoothly. Think of the top of the way an engine runs, how the little what do you call them? Not hard, the cylinders, right? It's really ran by the little arm that's spinning and it goes up and down. Right. It's that rotation that's the drive. It's not take a big stride with your heel. We always hear heel. That's actually wrong. Go look up the idea of the ideal stride rate, and the fastest runners naturally have a very high stride rate, and it's because their hips are working it, and they're not trying to overstride. The casual runner has a stride rate more like 120, while the fastest runners have a stride rate closer to 180 strides per minute, which is 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and it's that constant. Your hips are driving it. Your hips should move a little bit, and then everything else. Think of like if you ever just kind of try to snap a towel,
right?
Or you just think of it like a blanket. You're trying to get that blanket spread out over the bed, and you kind of flip it, and the rest of it kind of follows. Right. So your hip is that initial flip, and then your knees follow, and then the rest follows. If you're trying to purposely reach out with your foot, you're probably overstriding. Right. And when you overstride and you purposely are thinking, oh, you're supposed to go heel to toe, you're probably overstriding and you're putting brake so when your heel goes way in front of your knee instead of closer to right below your knee or right below your hips, you're actually braking yourself. And so what should be happening is that heel is landing. My analogy is this. You ever remember when you were a kid and you would turn over your bicycle? And you would then try to make the wheel spin by using your hand. Now, when you did that, what was your hand doing when it would hit the wheel? It was on the way back, right? You'd paw back with your hand to make the wheel go. Like you're trying to make the wheel spin real fast, but you just use your hand.
You should see his hand gestures.
So you would paw back, right? You wouldn't drive the hand forward into the tire.
You're not going upwards. You're going down.
You'd kind of have an oval like of a pattern with your hand, and then you would slap back as in the same direction it was already going, and that's the proper. You wouldn't go just crunch it right into the wheel on the way forward. You'd get it on the way back, so you're not stopping it. Well, so the RPM is a big thing as far as, and whenever I try to do even like elliptical, I try to do high RPM, and ellipticals are not really designed well with the arms, because if you ever think of how far out that elliptical handle is, it's way in front of your hips. Right. So really, as you're striding, I'm doing more visuals, but as you're striding and you're running, where is your hand in the middle of your stride? It's like basically at your hip, right? Right. But they've got on the ellipticals, they've got your hand way out in front of you. Yeah. And so what I try to do, and it's also good just
mine are on the steady bars. I don't move my arms. I just hold on to them.
What I do for balance is I don't hold on to anything.
You're talented. I can't. I will drift off.
But that will help your balance. But
I will drift off. I will totally loose, and I will fall. I will fall.
But you wouldn't.
Yes, I will.
I'm not saying you should go full, but try that.
Even I don't hold on tight, but I've got to hold on. But I don't do the arms.
But then you can work your stride speed. I'm doing more visuals. It looks like I'm doing some hula hoop Hawaii thing. But you can work your stride speed a little bit better if you're not holding on and work. What people need to understand with the running is that it's really that the torque of the lower body is counterbalanced by the torque of the upper body going in the opposite direction. Right. I told you I'm a running nerd. I told you I'm a biomechanic. But it's true. But to help
he's just a running nerd. That's it.
Yeah, that's it. But but seriously, for balance, just think of how good balance work you actually get by trying not to hold on, even if it's just part of the time.
Right.
to the elliptical and try to find that, because if you got your balance, you're over the top of the center of your gravity, right?
Yeah, I try it. It's scary.
Or when you do Stairmaster, try not to hold on. You're just going stairs, right? And that's the other thing. When people just lean on the Stairmaster,
Yeah.
and like nice little, partial weight leg presses, hold lightly or don't hold on. You're supposed to be
Right.
walking on the stairs.
Right.
If you're walking on the stairs, you wouldn't be able to lean forward on something. I'm going so fast. You're not burning the calories you think, man.
No.
So those two things, balance is just a really, and one of our friends, I got to tell you this. This is amazing. And the sports teams don't do it. I don't know why. I'm telling you, even experts in any field may not do the easiest thing. This is a universal deal. One of our mutual friends told me this, because I've been in phases where I run a lot, even as an adult. And I'll go run trails. And I told him once I turned an ankle, and he told me this trick. You turn your ankle, you're going to have to just visualize this, unfortunately. Where does it usually turn? Like, usually your ankle turns to the outside, right? Like
No,
your foot.
Mine always goes to the inside. Like it goes like this.
That's what I mean. Your ankle, the outside of your ankle,
the ankle
goes
goes out,
If you
yes.
will, the sole kind of faces the center, the sole of your foot, the bottom of your foot. So your ankle goes out sideways. And now what needs to happen, think of the part that just stretched. Where did it just stretch? It's the outside. It's the outside, right?
So you have to re-stretch it on the inside.
So not exactly, but you're along the right thing. So what's happening is your body goes, oh crap, you have screwed up that tendon.
Yeah.
This is amazing, but I'm telling you, I've had at least a dozen times since then where I've done this to incredible results. So you stretch your ankle usually that way. So it's this outside tendon on the outside of your shin, if you will. Like let's say it's your right foot.
Right.
It's on the right side of your lower leg, feels stretched, right? So what you do is you take that side and you contract those muscles. So basically you're going in the opposite direction as what's stretched. So instead of as soon as you can, and try to make it to where, let's say it's the right foot, for example. You're trying to make your right foot face to the right. So you're contracting those muscles on the right side of you go that way.
This way.
Yeah. You're trying to make your foot look to the right.
Okay.
The bottom of your foot look to the right. See how I'm doing that?
Yep.
Instead of to the left, which is where you stretched it.
Where I stretched it,
So,
yep.
so when you go to the left, you're contracting these muscles that just got stretched. Or I should say the muscles around those tendons, right?
Right.
So if you do that for like a minute and a half, I don't know how, but apparently your body is getting the signal that, hey, this does work.
Right.
It actually does work. So you're overriding this feedback of this overly stretched tendon. And if you do that for like a minute afterwards, your ankle won't swell.
Nice. I was
Okay.
put cold and then elevate it, and then I don't go to the gym and I whine about it and I baby it.
So he told me about it and I took it to heart going, because I understood,
Right.
okay, you just use that same part that stretched and you contract it as hard as you can, as soon as you can, for a good minute or two. I've had 3 or 4 where it's like, that is not good.
Yeah,
where
I've had
on
where
a trail.
I thought I was almost broke. Like I almost thought
I've
broke
had one
my-
like that. And I did that, and never once has it even swollen.
Oh wow.
One time I was on a trail, I twisted it so bad, I was on the ground seeing stars, and I was in the middle of nowhere. I could have walked out slowly, I'm sure. But it was so bad that when I first went to try to contract that muscle, first of all, I didn't want to get up. But when I first went to contract that muscle, it wouldn't even contract. Like, I'm like, oh, do the thing. I'm like, it doesn't even want to do it. And then as soon as I could, I just contracted that muscle that's associated with these stretched tendons. And I did it for like a minute, 2 minute, 3 minute. And then I ran out of there. And it never swelled.
Oh wow.
So it's been like a dozen times since he told me, here and there. Some of them bad, some of them just kind of, mediocre. Other ones really bad.
Yeah.
And I've never... Now, that time, my ankle felt a little tender for a little while afterwards, but I ran out of there and it never even swelled.
Right.
That was one I'm like, man, did I break something? And the bad thing was it wasn't far from my marathon, the only marathon I ran. We're talking about a month before.
Oh, wow.
I was doing trail running. And then I ran my marathon. It actually may have been around Tough Mudder instead, but I think it was the marathon. So that is an amazing trick. And you'll see people like in football or basketball, they never do that. They try to wrap it, so it doesn't have any place to swell to, and all this and that. I'm like, man, if they only know, I'm going to say his first name, John's trick.
Oh yeah, I knew who that was. Yeah.
If they only knew John's trick, I'm telling you, it's amazing. I know that was kind of a sidetrack, but it's so interesting because when that's one of the things we'll do. You got to get your whole body moving, and if you got an ankle issue, what do you do then?
Right.
You're basically dead in your tracks,
Yep.
So.
I've been there. All right, well, we're going to stop here, and next week we're going to pick up from this because health is not just working out. Health also has to do with food, mental. We're going to get into yoga. We're going to get into meditation. We're just going to talk about how you and I have a healthier life. Whether it works in your career, whether just working your normal life.
Yoga, man, that's tough on dudes. Mm-hmm. Yoga is tough on dudes.
Yeah.
Trying to make your body into a triangle with downward dog, and it looks like this weird, what do you call it, where it's not parallelogram. It's just when it's a 4-sided figure, but it's not even equal on each side. It's like it just turns into 4 instead of 3, like straight from the ground through the shoulders to your hips. A guy doing that, and that's a straight line. It's never a straight line. It's like it's like a TP right there.
Yoga will improve your sex life. All your positions.
Listen, I mean, I don't think the world needs it to be improved for me.
The world.
It's like, it's too much. It's too much. Don't do anything else.
It's exactly perfect. Oh, I don't know.
I ain't saying, I'm just saying.
I don't know if they did that. You know that there's a book out, and there was actually a couple.
It's probably one of the few in your giant bookcase.
Yeah.
Great sex through yoga.
No, couples having sex. There's an actual book and a way of what you do. And they start out with like some stretching, so like they show you like they're doing the couple stretching, like go forward and back and all that kind of stuff. And the couple, you look it up. It was talking about how much weight they lost and how they toned, and all of it is during sex, like pushes and the whole thing is. You think I'm joking, but I was like,
oh, I believe you. Were just
I was going to say back in a long time ago, we'll end it because we always have to end it gross.
Yeah.
But a long time ago, I used to have one of my, I just call them my little boy toys. He would get home from work or the bar or whatever, and I'd get a text message, and he would say, "The gym is open." And
his name was Jim?
No.
Nice try. I got you. His name was Jim.
No, it wasn't Jim. But that just meant that his front door is unlocked, and if I wanted to come over, I could.
Hey, the other thing, too, is you can see because it's just like, oh, it's to see the physique. You can go see naked yoga, which is sometimes interesting. There's actually a naked male yoga over in KC. I've gone to it once.
Really?
Yeah, but, it tends to be, of course, most, I'm straight, so, but it's like, I ain't scared, but of course there is a little bit of, gawking, but.
You do look like a pretty.
Yeah, I looked like more of a pretty then because I had, 15 pounds less weight on me. But yeah, there's a guy who does naked yoga over there on a regular basis.
I'm not into naked yoga.
And that guy is stacked. Yeah. I didn't say hung. That's different. But it's like, I can't even tell, just like someone who obviously goes to the gym a lot. So someone goes to the gym a lot and they get that flexibility, they really have those great proportions and the posture we're talking about too, to your point about the flexibility.
Right.
Because there are guys who lift and they're all like way forward, like, trolls. But if they work all that stuff where they do the other things too, that really helps the way the physique looks, when they've got that great posture.
Well, if anybody could see us, we've got like rock hard bodies. I mean, we are like that. You see those people out and they're just like perfectly muscular, not too muscular, but that's kind of, I would describe us that way.
That's what I would think. I think that's probably... I'm doing a position right now. It's called finger crossing. She's trying to hold in her coughs. Uh-oh. Hold on. Fist bump. Oh, you know what? We probably were within 6 feet of each other. I hope you don't really have something.
I have been coughing since March 14th. That's just me. And I still have like 3 more weeks left. It's these stupid allergies. And this weather outside, when it gets thick outside, I can't breathe.
So, yeah, you got me on some of my favorite topics and probably kind of went all over. But I still find it fun. I'll put up the timestamps.
Well, and like I said, next week we're going to finish because we got more to talk about. There's more to this.
Because the other thing, too, is that I'm very passionate about the health stuff because I do think there are incidental ways people can really avoid. I've seen people go on, like, trips where they can't enjoy the trips because, there are ways, like, I take calcium like it's going out of style, but... if you just think the only way to kind of help yourself is to once in a while go have somebody replace a joint, you're going to have the same issues in another 5 years.
Right.
Because you got other issues going on.
Right. And you need to take care. I mean, we have one body. We need to take care of one body. But today we kind of talked about more of the physical part of working out. And next week we're going to talk about the mental part and the dietary part. And if we just do mental, we'll just do mental. We'll do dietary another time. I'm just trying to break it out because this is something that is very important in both of ours. We have this in common.
The thing is, I think right now is the perfect time for people to remember gym's great, but you can work that incidental stuff into your day.
You need to,
going up the stairs or whatever it might be, some of that. I said cable, not the cable work, but what do you call the cords?
Bands.
Yeah, the band work, off of your, use your doorknob, wrap it around the doorknob or whatever. You can do incidental stuff that it may not make you look great, but functionally you'll just be so much more capable underneath.
Well, and even like if you're at work and you have a place and you're given a 30-minute lunch, I don't know how long it takes you to eat, but you probably shouldn't be eating all the food that you're eating anyway at lunch. You should have, have a smaller meal, but go take 20 minutes and go walk and then come back and eat your lunch or eat your lunch on one of your breaks, like do a break or something like that, but try to fit it in at least 30 minutes a day.
It's really hard. To your point, it's like if you can get those, even if it's just 5 minutes of walking during your break, you can walk quite a bit in 5 minutes, and then it's hard because we want to go, well, let's just go ahead. I mean, I wonder what the percentage of people who really would admit that, yeah, they let me have 15-minute breaks in the morning and afternoon, but for the most part, I don't take them.
Right.
And I certainly don't leave, as I think that's probably a lot of people.
So when I worked at Let's Help, we were on the second floor, and so our building was a circle. So you could come in the back door and go up the stairs, or you could come in the front door and go upstairs. And Shelley and I would do an hour for our lunch. We would do the circle. So we would walk on the lower level. We'd go up the stairs, walk on the lower, come down the stairs. And each time we did the stairs, we did it different. And sometimes we would go up the stairs and then we'd go down the stairs sideways, up the stairs sideways, down the stairs sideways, up the stairs sideways, and then go the next thing, come and go down, slow, slow, slow. And we had a pattern and we would do it together. We do it an hour a day, 3 times a week.
In a world without gyms. That's a good
right.
example. The other example is what I did the other day was used my parking garage when it wasn't a great day and I couldn't get into anywhere else anyway to get my time in. If you have a parking garage nearby, just go walk inside there and do the steps there, right? So I did the steps. I did regular just walking in the garage, and I did the stairwells in the garage, so.
Anyway, all right. So, all right, guys, thank you so much for giving us your time, and we appreciate our listeners and are excited that our show keeps growing so fast. Make sure to comment in our Facebook group, Kimology 411, and if you haven't joined yet, please go do that. Thank you, Tyson, for helping make Kimology 411 so awesome.
And this will be our 44th total thing we put up.
That is crazy.
Amazing, man. Well,
I know it.
We're still self-congratulatory. No, before you know it, we'll be at 50.
Yeah, before.
50 is coming along before too terribly. I should say 50 total things. Now, episode 50 is a little while from now, but
right.
We're already going to be at 44 things.
Yeah.
We might do a second one even tonight.
We might get something in tonight. All right, guys, we'll talk to you soon, and please make sure to keep taking all of your adventures. Bye-bye.